as you can imagine, the
Um,
world is just super chaotic right now.
I
There's a
got
lot of chaos going on. Hi.
um,
Somebody mute. Okay, anyway, so here's the thing. 95% of all your conversations happening right now in communication is going to be about the big topic at hand, the coronavirus. And so with that, you have to think that everybody that you're coming across, including even yourself and your own children, are be living in their brainstem. And if you think about what that means, living in your brainstem, that means that that lizard brain has taken over, and is super important that we actually talk communication today, because as you probably know, normally I'm talking about twice as fast as I usually am. Okay. However, I'm slowing it way down, and you need to as well when you're communicating with your clients, because again, everybody's in fight and flight. Now, knowing that everybody's in fight and flight gives us, the chiropractor, that strategic and that overall advantage, especially if you've been talking real chiropractic to your clients. So if your office is still open, and this might trigger some of you guys, it's giving you a real good idea of how your education and how your communication has been going since you've been open. If you haven't seen a real big drop, that means that people are really understanding what you're doing and what you're providing for them. If it's fluctuating greatly, then that means that the message is not as clear as it once was. And I would encourage that whoever you are, whether or not you are busier or slower, that you're actually asking people that are coming in why they're there today. And that's going to make you cry no matter what. Okay. It's either going to be happy tears because it's going to be emotionally uplifting and reaffirming to what your purpose is, as people are explaining to you, like, hey, I can't imagine any other doctor helping me through this. I can't imagine any other trusted advisor helping me through this situation. Or it's going to make you cry because they're going to be like, well, I didn't really want to come here, but man, I could not sleep another night with this headache going on, or my low back going on, or whatever it might be. And if that's your jam, that's fine. I'm not trying to judge you on that. That could be your ideal client in your demographic, but it's going to be revealing to you on like what you're truly serving. Okay. So when you think about that overall with these conversations, you're going to figure out where in the priority list you are. Okay. You're going to see, hey, truly, are we an essential service, or are we just kind of an expensive pain relief? And so again, that's going to be part of the conversations that you're having. One, you're going to see even on your Facebook feed, all these different stories and these facts being put out, and these blogs being put out, and everything on your timeline is going to be having this. It's crucial for you to see, just take a glimpse of what's going on so you can understand what everybody else is being bathed in, and then why they're living in there. Okay. Now here's the other thing too. Even in our profession, half our profession wants us to shut our doors down because they feel like we could be part of the problem of congregating people and exposing them further. Okay. And then other half of the profession says, hey man, we understand that this our nervous system, our immune system is key and crucial to what's going on. People are more stressed than ever, and we are a critical part of what's going on as well. Again, you have to make that decision for you, but at the same time, you have to be able to communicate that to your clients as well. And last but not least, also you have to think about, like, with schools being shut down, with restaurants being shut down, groups being coming down there, the communication and how people are interacting has completely changed, which gives us an amazing opportunity, because now, as long as we are consistent and vocal about whatever consistent it is, you're going to put yourself in a position to really make some impact here. Okay. Because here's the thing, right now, nothing makes sense. Again, like I said, everybody's living in the brainstem, panic is rising. People are buying toilet paper by the cases, selling it on eBay for $100 plus for an 18 pack is pure insanity out there. Okay. Even if you look at the grocery stores, like I was just talking to somebody who works at Walmart, they say that the hoarding and the people that are taking things is cycling around, and it's just what's perceived to be in demand. So whatever's being perceived into being demand is being taken away or getting hoarded. There's no rhyme or reason to it. If you go to your grocery stores, you're still going to see lots of produce because people are hoarding a lot of the processed foods and the packaged foods and leaving literally hundreds of oranges, which would technically help them, but they're not seeing that. They're not doing that because, again, people are in panic and they're not thinking rationally. The average person is smart, but groups of people are incredibly dumb. So like I said, as you're communicating these things, you got to slow it down and you got to speak to their hearts, but you also have to stand up. And what I mean by that is that you got to look at it and you have to see this, is that you have to honestly just fucking accept the power that you have. You have to say, okay, I am in a position where my opinion and my stance actually matters, because people are looking for that. And people are looking to either grab onto somebody or push off of somebody. Either way, by you taking a stand, you're going to help out your community and help the people in it. Because either people are going to be like, I don't like this, and push off from it, just like a magnet would. Either you're going to attract or repel, or they're going to grab onto you as being the sensible part. Because honestly, if you look at it, there are so many different distractions and news and theories and conspiracy theories out there that people are scrambling to help understand what's going on in their position and how fearful or how dismissive they should be. And you're going to have the extremes. You have all the spring breakers in Florida being like, who fucking cares, man? I'm just here to party and I'm going to be fine. And then you have the people that are completely isolated for fear of their kid having asthma. Or in my family, we have a kid who was born without a diaphragm and has a lung issue. And so we're having to quarantine her because out of fear, we're worried about what could happen with that. And so you're going to have all those different extremes. And then you have everybody in the middle who's floundering, who's trying to tread the water. They have no idea what's going on. They see all this stuff happening. Mom is and dad are all of a sudden having to take care of their families, having to step into the role of educator or caregiver all the time. They're worried about their work. Some of the hourly workers are like, how am I going to pay the bills? That's causing political disruption, financial disruption. This is going to be the biggest impact that we've seen in the decade and the coming decade. So here's the thing, folks. Again, know your power, know the impact you can have, and take a stance. And this is the opportunity for you to jump in and put your name into the game to be that trusted individual in your community. And we can do that in several ways. And we're going to talk a lot about those too. Because again, like I said, we want a leader. And like, if you just think about it, we hate lukewarm. We hate kind of in the middle. We want to be into the extremes onto the sides. And so take that stance and you're going to be able to do the base on there. So today we're going to basically just cover some of the basics of communication and how we're going to get you positioned to get out there. Because unfortunately, some of us are going to have a whole bunch of free time on our hands. Okay. I say, raise your hands if you've seen a decrease in your office so far. Okay. So a good third of you. Okay. Now, oddly enough, I don't mean to brag by that, but we're actually busier right now in my office. Now, granted, we don't have any active cases in our county yet. We have them around us, but not there. But we've been doing emails. We've been doing things about, hey, what am I doing for my family? What are some things that we can do to prep for this instead of be hoarders and respond or react to it? What can we do proactively? So we're pushing that type of agenda. And it's going to be important for you. How are you going to position yourself there? Because some of us, we can't even be in the office. If you're in Kentucky, for example, they say that, hey, offices are going to be closed by 5 o'clock today. And then you're out of the office for the time being. So there are other states that are going to be following suit with that. That was just ordered by the Kentucky governor, I believe, last night. So kind of a scary time for some of these offices because they're wondering, one, hey, I know what I know. Two, yikes, financially, what could this mean for me and my family? And then what am I going to do with all my clients? What are we going to do? And there are things we can do to adapt to even doing a web cam type situation or advice with that. Or what can we do to change, strategize, finally take things off our list to get ourselves positioned and get that momentum going so that way when things come out, we're just flooded with people. And so we're going to talk a lot about the basics with that. Okay. So obviously the best thing overall that you can do is sit down. And if you haven't already, figure out who your ideal client is. Okay. Because once you figure that out, that's going to make everything so much easier. Okay. And it's just one of those things that's just all over in business and in marketing is that if you just take the time to figure out who the heck you want to serve, all the other answers kind of fall in place. So for example, if my demographic was Billy Bob Trucker and low back pain, then, the way I market is going to be way easier. I'm not going to be doing a whole lot of social media blasts, but I might be doing radio ads and I might be doing podcasts and I might be doing something where Billy Bob Trucker can get to that. Okay. Now, if I'm trying to serve kids and trying to do that, it's not like I'm doing video or I'm not doing advertisements on cartoons and I'm not putting like advertisements at the childcare facility. I mean, it might be if I'm trying to reach the parents who are actually there, but I can tell you that in my office, even though I like serving a lot of kids, really my ideal client is the mom. And so when in my office, we took away all the toys and books, we pissed off a lot of kids. They were really sad and upset and we didn't have the crayons out and things like that because we're trying to make sure that things are a little bit more sanitary during this time. But the parents saw that as a positive. The parents loved it. The parents saw like, hey, we understand that we're not going to hang out in the office as long. However, I'm going to go into what do we have instead for them later. They appreciate that thing because that's truly my ideal client is them, even though sneakily I want to serve more kids and I want to see those whole families get healthier. Again, my ideal client is actually the mom. And so then by pissing off the kids, I still had a better relationship with mom. So those things really matter. If you're type A business and you're wearing, you're going to be wearing your suit and tie and your coat, and you might have like vitamin C packets up the front or whatever it might be, or you might say like, hey, we have special individual times, 15 minutes per client. We're slowing things down. We're not grouped up. It's not going to be hopping like it once was. We want to make sure that on your app, you have your appointment scheduled. Those things matter for that type of clients. So again, whatever you decide what your ideal client is, take the time to figure that out. Because once you figure out the demographics of that ideal client, then you can figure out who your target market is. And that's different. Ideal client is a person or an avatar or a description of who that person is, how much they make, where they like, what their demographics are, what's their job, what are their kid life, what's their home life, what's their hobbies. That's what you mark out with as far as creating an avatar or an ideal client. The target market is where do you find the ideal client? Okay, so that target market might be like, hey, they like to shop at Lululemon or Lululemon or Whole Foods, and they like doing yoga, and they go to these high-end yoga places versus, online programs or whatever it might be. And so as you figure out these target markets, that's when you can actually start strategizing, hey, what's going to appeal to these? What's going to appeal to them best? Because as you do that, you got to figure out where they're at. Because here's the thing. For me, my demographic with young moms in California or on the States, hey, TikTok is rapidly exploding with young moms. However, in BFE, Nebraska, TikTok's not that big yet. And so even though if I wanted to be TikTok famous, I'd be huge on the coast, but here it doesn't matter. Instagram is kind of getting popular here for that group, but really it's still Facebook. So 80% of my marketing is going to be on Facebook because that's where my ideal client is. That's the target market is. That's where I'm going to put my energy into. Now, granted, I will tell you that I have an 80-15-5 split of 80% in Facebook, 15% in Instagram, and you can link the two, but it's a different setup that we're going to talk about. And then I'm going to start slowly adding in TikTok during this next couple of weeks because again, there's potential for a little bit more time. Does that make sense so far, guys? Hey, anybody confused on the different platforms and things like that too? Okay. So as you figure out your ideal client and stuff like that, you might decide, hey, I wonder if a podcast is right for me. The best thing you can do is you start figuring out, okay, in my office, who's my ideal clients? List them all out. And then you use them from now on to ask all your questions on what you should do and what you should not do. Okay. So I have a group of about 20, 30 people that are like stark raving fanatics that are my ideal client that I always ask to. I'd be like, hey, would it be beneficial if I had a podcast? Hey, would it be beneficial if we had a private Facebook group? Hey, would you use if I had a planner system? Would you use if I had described what my perfect morning rituals were? And we just ask those things. And once we get their feedback on that, it's really simple, especially if you have an email system set up or a private Facebook group or a VIP group that we talked about in Facebook land lately. That's a really easy way to bounce out ideas back. And it doesn't become a trial and error type process of like, man, I wonder if I should do this or not. And you spend all this time and it totally blows up. No, you ask your market and see what their feedback is. And that's how you do it. And that's how you save yourself so much time and money. Because again, we get so attracted to these shiny things, especially when we're living up in our brainstem in a fight and flight, that we don't want to go for that. So real quick, does anybody have any other platforms or social media platforms that they have found that works great for their ideal client or their target market? Unmute yourself and let me know. Anybody? All right, so it's pretty quiet. Okay. If you change your mind or you think something, just let me know. So here's the thing. Other platforms that we typically use is things like Twitter. There's Reddit out there. Reddit's a little bit more anonymous, so I wouldn't really even use that too. LinkedIn. So again, once you figure out who your ideal client is, if you're type A business personality, hey, your game is totally LinkedIn. If you're more Twitter, I don't really see a lot of across the board, a lot of engagement as far as like movement to action. So I usually stick away from Twitter, and that's just my own personality or personal choice on that. It's more of just like, hey, people are just scrolling and watching some stuff too. And we see that in TikTok a lot too, but at the same time, TikTok is going to be the fastest changing things. And so I would say that would be the biggest thing, especially on the coastline, if you're trying to find young moms, is to get involved with that. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about TikTok in there because there's trends that we have to worry about that, but let's back off here. For example, what I would say overall and what the big action step that you guys could take away from right now is I want you to just go online and you're going to start creating backup accounts for everything that you have. Okay. Especially with the coronavirus and especially with how sometimes we get a bit controversial and all of a sudden, all this censoring that's going on. Troy just figured this out a couple weeks ago, that it's really easy to get put in Facebook jail. Okay. And he was texting me. He's like, dude, let me in. I don't know how to get into my own groups. I don't have this backup there and don't have it there. And we had to like work in to get him back into his own system because all of a sudden, if you lose your account, you lose access. Okay. Now, how you do this is, of course, you have your main account backup. Okay. And you're going to be inviting them into your groups, into your social groups, but make sure you have those backups there. And for each groups, like your chiropractic office page, your VIP page, if you had retention secrets or things like that, you're going to have those backup pages. And right off the bat, in those backups, you're going to post a quick video, welcome video. Hey, this is the backup account to my main page. And so make sure you check that out. Of course, we'll put everything here if we get kicked off or censored or whatever it might be. But for right now, go to this main page. So that's what you'll have waiting for there, and have it built out exactly like your main page. So make sure you have the same cover art. Make sure that you have, if you have any kind of like color scheme or a landing page, that you have it all onto the backup account. Because when somebody kind of is trying to search for you, you want to make sure that right away they know they're in the right spot. Okay. Now on the main page, of course, you're going to invite everybody, and don't be ashamed of it, of saying, hey, while you're at it, make sure you go to my backup account and click join, just in case, worst case scenario, we get put in Facebook jail or something like that. We have this as our backup account. Okay. And of course, once you do get put in Facebook jail, okay, because in all honesty, you should, just like Troy, because if you're not putting out a material enough just to kind of shock or maybe turn some people away, are you really making a big impact? You're just kind of being lukewarm and in the middle again. So again, your goal, they say, is to get hate mail. Well, the new form of hate mail is going to be getting blocked. You're going to have people that are going to absolutely love it, and then you're going to have a few that absolutely hate it. Okay, but you're going to polarize people and push for that. Okay, because if you're not on that edge of being there, what the hell are you doing? Okay, people, there's just so much going on that if you're just kind of that lukewarm, happy medium and not really doing much, you're not going to be noticed. Okay, to make a difference, to make an impact, to create people to action, got to push it just a bit. Okay, keep it spicy, keep it interesting. Okay, so have those backups in there. Make sure you always just have a little link, even on Instagram, even in there, you can put it in the bio, backup Instagram profile, boom. So that way people can always do that and say like, hey, make sure you follow my backup. We got put in jail last week, or you put it in your stories like, hey, make sure you follow my backup account. And I would do that probably every other week. When you first create it, might do it just one time a week. You put it in your stories or Instagram stories or Facebook stories. So that way people can do that. Yeah, so that's it. Don't be ashamed of it. People understand. Make sure you have a backup account. Email list. Email list is huge. And especially right now, can be your biggest ally and the biggest thing that you could be growing right now, especially with all this craziness going on. If you're seeing less patients or you're seeing zero patients, then focus on your email list and just be like, hey, that's your action step. Hey, make sure you sign up for my email list so you can get all updates with this. Or make sure you sign up for my email list to get this 5 things that you can do first thing in the morning with your kids to get some movement in the day, or whatever it might be. Again, depending on your ideal client, that's what you're going to create. Okay. And all you have to do is go to Google Docs, create something, your top 10 pit tips, or hey, best snacks for your family. Or maybe it's, if you're stuck working from home, this is what you're going to do every 2 hours. This is my 1-minute routine to get more movement. Again, whatever your ideal client or target market is, that's going to be key for making sure that you're providing to them. So as you're doing that, that's your back there. So here's the thing. Don't be afraid of building a list. I see a lot of people get fearful of saying, oh man, do I choose a Weber or MailChimp, or do I get with Infusionsoft, or do I just collect it on my own and put it in ChiroTouch or Katana or whatever I use? I just don't know. So I'm going to research it a little bit. And do I pay for this? Do I get the free account? If I get the free account, will I lose it if I switch it over? Don't worry about that stuff. Just start building your list. Okay. 99% of the stuff out there, you can take your list with you. Okay. Don't worry about having to redo it again. Okay. Just start building it like crazy. In fact, with every screening that you're at, with every corporation or event you're at, your goal is to continue building up that list. And there's lots of easy ways of doing it. First way, get on those accounts. There's usually a landing page option with that. Create the landing page to collect emails. It's free. It's easy. You literally just have to go on Google and say, how do I create a landing page in MailChimp? How do I create a landing page in Aweber? And there'll be a 2-minute video on YouTube. Somebody's already done it, and it'll show you how to do it. You can even say like, hey, how do I get people to text a number and have their number or their email added directly into it? Or how do I get a big group text list? You can Google those things and do that as well. But I really like the email platform. The text version is pretty powerful, but people get pissed off on that easily. But especially as for you basic offices, I would say push email. Let's see. Even just so you know, I use MailChimp. There's an app on your iPads. And so we even use the iPads for like ChiroTouch for like the Medicare clients to do their forms. We also keep that app on there to easily add emails. So like we have an alert on visit 4 that to invite them to our social media, but to also get their email address. Hey, if you want to be part of Nick's 1% club, put your email down here. You're going to get an email once a week, yada, yada, yada. And so it's really easy to add those things in there. And it's that. So let's see. Also, when you're doing, who you call them basic, nice. Okay. So the other thing is if you're kind of worried about what kind of content to put out there, it's called copywriting. So how is your copywriting? So it's one of those things that you could literally easily Google or YouTube as well. Ed Osborne has like a little program with a series of videos that you can ask him for copywriting. I'm sure Troy would be happy to help you point in the right direction as far as how to write good copy so that you can keep your open percentage or your engagement list high. Marcus, your email list of, what did you say, like 42% opened your list? That's phenomenal. Anything over 10% is pretty amazing. If you get 15% opening, you're considered a rock star in the industry. Anything above that is pretty phenomenal. Any questions on open rates or emails? Pretty basic information, but at the same time, just leap and go for it. Don't be worried about adding too much fancy stuff into the email, like videos or particular pictures or things like that too anymore, especially with everything being on the phone. People just want the message right away and easily. So you can scroll in there and just put a link to a video. You don't actually have to the video screen cap and linked perfectly so they can see that. If they can't play the video right in within there, it doesn't matter. They're still gonna have to click a link to get somewhere else. Then just keep it super simple for them. Make sense? All right, got some head nods there. Okay, so again, like folks there, again, really own the fact that you have power, that you need to take a stance. And right now, people are stuck in their homes. They're stuck at work. Their communication and connection is primarily through the things that we can offer them. And if we don't do it, somebody else is. So think about it. There's a lot of fear going on. The Facebook posts, people are reading all this stuff. And it would be better if it was coming from you. And if you were saying, hey, I'm sharing this blog that I thought was helpful, or I'm sharing this research article that's helpful, or hey, this is what I'm doing. If you could take that stance, people are really going to latch onto that because, again, you're like their security comfort blanket. You have to think about the process. Most people are so terrified of seeing the chiropractor for the first time. If you guys are able to overcome that fear, and they get that trust where you adjust their neck or their spine or they're seeing you multiple times, you've already gotten your in. They've already trusted you with their life in their eyes when they first meet you, okay? So in that regards, you are in a perfect position to take over and saying like, hey, I'm your trusted health advisor. I've literally held your life in my hands and you've trusted me through that, get you through your crisis. This is another crisis. Let's get you through this too as well, okay? So as we go into, let's talk about Facebook now. Just a second, make sure I can get there. So as you look like for Facebook, I want to make sure that you look at what can we do with Facebook to create connection. Okay. What can we do to bring people together? Okay. And so a lot of coaches and consultants right now are pushing to their clients. What can we do to create like little environments? So like VIP groups, can you do a hangout? Can you do a Zoom call where people come together and still have this interaction? And it doesn't have to be with a real point in mind. So I can't say like, all right, you're going to do your spinal care class on Zoom and bring everybody together. You could literally guys say like, hey guys, let's do a BYOB. let's hook up at 7 o'clock tonight after, as things are winding down, and let's just chill out for a half an hour or 45 minutes. Bring your own glass of wine, bring your beer. Let's just chit chat about everything that's going on. I'm going to give you guys my little 2 cents on what you guys can do at home tomorrow and what we're doing in my house, but let's just kind of connect. And, even if you never get to your 2 cents about what you're doing at home, stuff like that, and you just provide that connection there, people are really going to be scrambling to love that. Okay. So that's what I mean is really take a look at Zoom, take a look at Google Hangouts, also Skype, but I would prefer that if you guys probably would stick with Hangouts or Zoom, because then you can have the multiple group, just like we're doing right now, of having that connection. Does that make sense? So as you do that, a lot of these are paid services. There are free versions as well, but it'd be to your advantage, I would say, particularly for Zoom, to get a paid account, because what you can do is you could also change that paid account into a Facebook Live integration. And what that means is, let's say, for example, I wanted to say, hey, Kristen, you and me, let's have a talk about thyroid. Okay. And let's do this from our clients. And we do a Zoom interview, and I put that into Facebook Live at the same time. And I put that into either my VIP group or just my office page, and you do the same thing, or I give you the video to do it to the same thing as well. The engagement that you would have would be that much better. Okay. The amount of exposure would be that much better. And you're also giving people something to watch or to look at, because people are going to have a lot of free time. You just start posting like your schedule. So what I would be doing if my office shut down is I'd probably be having 2 to 3 hangouts per day. Perfect. Brian, thank you for posting that coupon. And what I would say is like, hey, at 11 o'clock, we're going to be doing a Zoom hangout of like about something serious. So we'd say like, hey, let's talk about vitamin C. Okay. At 2 o'clock, we're going to be doing a Zoom hangout about activities for your kids. Okay. At 7 o'clock, we're going to be, or 5 o'clock, we're going to do, or not 5 o'clock, because my demographic is going to be moms with kids, but maybe after bedtime, like, hey, we're going to do just a wine and dine crash night. Hey, what are we going to do? Or what's popular is these Facebook watch parties. And so you could be like, hey, I'm going to host a watch party over this Del Big Trees vaccination thing. Or if you don't want to be that controversial, you can choose something else. Okay. But you can do these little watch parties as well. Okay. And if you don't know what the watch party is, again, Google, great source. Hey, tell me 2 minutes or less what a watch party is. And so you can see these little things. And again, if you have this, I would purposely like do these every day. And so, sorry to get ahead of myself. One of the things I did to kind of teach myself some of this stuff, as I said, like, man, I'm kind of bad at some of this stuff. Let's do this. And so there for a while, I was saying twice a week, I had on my little to-do list. I said, okay, Instagram, how do I do an Instagram live? How do I do an Instagram story? How do I go on Instagram TV? And I would just spend 5 minutes watching on how to do these things. Okay. And so little by little, I was taking my game up to before I could start really going to this. Because sometimes we just get overwhelmed by how much there is to learn and how much you can do. Just do it piece by piece so you can learn these little things like that. And you can do that now, and you might have more time, but at the same time, don't get overwhelmed by this. Okay. So going back to Facebook, as you do these groups, as like Brian just posted there, he has a VIP group. I would say that'd be key. And what I would do is like within your practice, create a VIP group, like of just the people that you absolutely love, the people that really jive with your message, your diehards, and invite them into this group, and then give them the extra stuff. Give them the stuff like, hey, this is how you're going to boost your immune system. Even though normally that will get your ass banned. Okay. You can say that sort of thing in this group. So the way in my main page, I said, hey, these are things that I'm doing for my family. And I had to say it like that. Okay. Vitamin C, extra sleep, vitamin D. And of course we're getting them checked, things, what I'm doing for my family. In my VIP group, you're like, all right, the world is whack, guys. This is how we're going to protect ourselves. Let's talk about what can we do to make sure that we have the best chance possible of kicking this thing even before it starts. Okay. With that type of talk in the mainstream, people are going to be like, this guy's a quack. Let's shut this guy down. In your VIP group, these people love that stuff. Okay. So go for it. Okay. Also, the nice thing about that is that you can take your main Facebook page and you can link those groups or those special groups to that main Facebook page. So you can have it there where there's a little join button. Okay. And in that, really, you can honestly, I would just say, go on Google again, say, how do I link my my groups to my Facebook page? It's that simple. There's just a few settings and you can do that. I first heard about it from Steve Tullius. And he kind of showed me how to do it. And then I was able to find videos online too as well for that. Also with Facebook, if you are looking to just build overall audience and groups, I would check out Jenna Zeller. She's on Facebook. She had this program called 10,000 likes and for $100. And it's a cheap, easy program. There's just a little bit of how you do marketing and advertising in the rest of the world to start getting your likes up. And once you hit about 4,000, 5,000 people liking your page, then you start narrowing it down to America and to your demographic. And since people see like, oh, 5,000 people already like this page, I'm gonna like this page. And so that's the American mindset of saying like, oh, social affluence or social construction of like, hey, this many people already like it, I'm gonna like it too. Okay, so there's different ways of doing that. Troy, I think, has also used that program. So again, if you needed more information, ask him or myself. We'll kind of get you in touch with Jenna, and she can help you do that. And it's legitimate. You spend about $100 and you can do that, or you can spend $200 and get it twice as fast, or 20,000 people. It's up to you. Let's talk about back into Zoom. Let's see. No, I already recommended that you guys do interviews. I already recommended that you guys do like hangouts. That's the key thing with Zoom and doing that. Don't worry about too many bells or whistles, and don't worry about making it perfect. Again, the more vulnerable you are, the more at ease you are about it, the less, the more people are going to be drawn to that. Because again, if you're in your yoga pants and hair is up in a bun and you're just kind of rocking it out, people are going to be at ease with that. If you're, drinking a Yingling and chilling out with everybody else too, again, people are going to connect with that. Because again, if you're thinking like, oh, I'm Mr. Perfect and everybody's fantastic and the kids are not fighting and I'm not stressed at all, then people are gonna like, well, I can't connect with you. Okay. But like I posted the other day, with our homeschooling, we got 2 kids that are kicked out for fighting and the other teacher got disbanded for being drunk on the job. It's funny because people say like, holy crap, this guy, these people are real and they can understand the stress that I'm going through. And the more you connect, again, the more you're going to be that much more popular. Okay. I do want to talk about TikTok real quick. TikTok is this new animal that's coming out, and the younger demographic was trying to keep it exclusive, and they were kind of age shaming some of the moms and some of the dads that are coming on. Yeah.
Sorry, it's Brian.
Oh, hey, yeah, please.
Before if you move on to TikTok, on the Facebook VIP groups.
Yeah.
I put our link up there. If you guys want to join that group. Anything that's on there, steal it. We don't care. Put it out there. We've been getting a lot of really good engagement on some of the just craziest questions. Like Michelle asked, what's your favorite flavor of ice cream? And we've got a ton of engagement on that question. Awesome. So if you guys see something on there, you want to put it out to your VIP group or your online community, use it, steal it. We don't care. Please do.
Swipe and deploy.
And you'll notice that like a lot of the engaging questions are super key with that. So Brian, thank you. Like it wasn't like, hey, who's coming in for their adjustment still? No, it's like, hey, what's your favorite ice cream? Or what did you guys? He has did another real question that was just like absolutely amazing, where it gets people because people love sharing their opinion.
And what was your least favorite school food in elementary school?
Yes, that was amazing. That was such a great thing. So people love sharing their easy, fast opinions. Okay, that's why Reddit is so dang popular. So you can anonymously share your opinion or your ideas without being, ostracized. But even on Facebook, people want to share their fast, easy opinions on stuff. And even though that really had no increase in health, increasing the health of their community, at the same time, it created that connection and created that bond. And I can say that the more that you do that, the more people are going to be looking forward to even looking at your page and engaging in that straight. And then all of a sudden, you right hook, you do a couple, and then all of a sudden you with a left hook of like saying, hey, were you guys even aware that we're busier now because of all the sickness going on and people are super stressed? If this sounds like you, maybe you should come check us out. All of a sudden it works like that. Okay. So the more real you can be, the better engagement you're going to have overall. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, the nice thing is that you got a lot of people out here that you can help you. I know Brian just started a VIP group. If you guys have questions on that, ask him. Chris and Adana do an amazing job on their Instagram page and also on their Instagram stories. I'm not going to volunteer them, but I know the type of people they are that I'm sure they would be like, yeah, just follow our page and, we can help you out if you see something you like. Just do those things. I can help you out on podcasting for sure. And also trying to organize some of this stuff. But again, the biggest thing, guys, don't worry about all that stuff if your ideal client would not be worried on that stuff. Okay. So that's going to save you so much time and energy if you can just figure that one part out. Who's your ideal client? And if you can figure out where they're at, and then more importantly, what problems do they have that I can solve? That's the key there. Because right now, the problem that we're trying to solve is connection. How can we better connect and communicate with our clients? How can we make them still feel secure in this world? Because right now, everybody's grasping. Okay. Everybody is trying to figure out and make sense of what's going on. And that's super, super stressful. Okay. So back to TikTok here. It's our youngest demographic. They try to protect it, not working. All of a sudden that's over. So now we're seeing a lot of young moms, young couples pick this back up. I would survey your ideal clients and just see about that, because right now it could be a perfect time for you. Right now it might not be. I will tell you this, however, under chiropractic, for me, watching the hashtag chiropractic and all the videos there, it kind of made me sick. The biggest thing is that popping videos are super popular. So the ring dinger, the ones that are just like this gross manipulation, the louder the pop, the crazier the pop, the more views they get. Okay. So again, you got to take a hard stance for you. What is your ideal client? Now, if you're just trying to get popularity, hey, freaking go for it. But at the same time, for me, I don't see the point of putting all that energy in unless I can see some sort of benefit to my community and to me and my business. So for me, I don't want to post a lot of popping videos. Okay. Because the people that are going to love the popping videos already have a chiropractor, one. Okay. They are already a fan of that. And so you're going to be appealing to 10% of the population, right? You're not going to be appealing to the 90% who've never tried chiropractic before. You're going to, in fact, probably be scaring them away, or like going like, oh, what the hell? And do you really want any potential client to be like, oh, what the hell? Or, oh my God, what the heck was that? You don't want them doing that. At least I don't for my clients. Okay. So what I'm going to be doing as I strategize that, there's going to be some fun content there too as well, but there's going to be also more content to really identify with the young parents and talking about their struggles and things like that, and kind of appealing to that portion. So I'm not going to be doing the popping videos. Okay. That's not what I'm going to be doing. In fact, if I decide to do a popping video, it's going to be mocking those. So there'd be some of these like, hey, every once in a while people see the crack addicts want to hear it coming, and I'm a disappointment, or whatever it might be, because I'll make fun of that to help destroy that stereotype that's been put on. So you guys got to figure out for you what that's going to be. So for me, I'm super animated. I'm excited to do some video, some dance stuff and kind of be goofy on that, because that's my personality. And I want to embrace that for people. For you, you guys might keep it a little bit more calm down, or you might say like, hey, these are all the hugs I got today. And you could do a hug challenge of like, hey, be on my TikToks, or ask one of your affiliates, like, hey, show me to do TikTok and help me to do my first one, and spend 5 minutes to do that. You might be surprised even that in asking a teenager to do that, you'll get a lot of local teenagers. But again, how much purchasing power do they have? How much impact can you make? Answer that for you and go from there. Does that make sense on TikTok, guys? Okay. Now here's the thing. Everybody goes through stages on TikTok. At first, you're going to say like, this is stupid. And you'll download it and you'll be like, this is a waste of time. And then you'll be this constant scroller just kind of laughing like, and just kind of mindlessly do it. And then you'll be like, I wonder if I could do a TikTok someday. And then you'll start planning some of these things out, and you won't do them. And you'll keep scrolling and be like, yeah, I could do that. And then eventually, then you'll want to do your first TikTok video. Okay. Everybody goes through that. It's just like Facebook. At first, all of the Gen Xers were like, what the hell is this? I don't want this. And then finally they started adopting, and they adopted in a crazy amount. TikTok will be that. So I'm letting you now, if it's not already popular in your demographic, in your target market now, it will be. So get ahead of the curve, figure that out now, figure out what your approach can be, and then go from there. Okay. It's a great way to also side hustle and promote your podcast, Chris and Donna. Okay. But again, because people are going to be watching that. Troy, you'd be a natural at this, man. If you're not already in TikTok, man, you're going to be a freaking natural at it, because you're spontaneous, you're goofy as hell, you have no problems including your kids on stuff. It could be popular and popular fast. Okay. Questions on TikTok, folks? Okay. So let's wrap this up. The biggest thing is that you have to leap into it.
Nick.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris here.
What's up, dude?
Hey, on TikTok, like what we did is before Troy's
Troy,
calling.
what's up?
What? I think I don't know. He's doing something. Anyway,
Okay.
I started on a personal account just to get the reps.
Yep.
Until I felt comfortable with, okay, here's how the editing goes. Here's how I add the music. And then I did the practice one, and that helped like get the practice one going a lot faster. So if you don't want to go out and be that public face as your practice, you can start on a personal one first.
Hey, that's great advice. Yep. Anybody else on TikTok? Questions, thoughts, concerns? All right. So again, put the time into there. So again, let's just talk about your action steps again. Action step number 1, figure out who your ideal client is. It's not everybody with a spine. Okay. Because otherwise we'd be dealing with people that if you look at the list and you see that name and you're like, oh, fudge, kick them out of your office, find them a new chiropractor anyway. But there's those people that, like, hey, I love serving this. I love serving this. I love serving this. Write those names out, figure out what they have in common. And that's your jam. Okay. Then figure out the target market of where they're at, what message they want, and what problems do they have that you can solve. Now, right here in this time, I want you to be an overall problem solver, not just a chiropractic problem solver. So if you can do a video, if you honestly, Leah could be kicking some serious ass right now as far as doing videos with all sorts of kids. Like, hey, this is what we're going to do at home. This is, there was this dad who started hitting on me the other day because he wants to have an affair with me. This is, just laugh that off. Or like, hey, let's talk about snacks during this time, because the kids are going to be eating snacks 24 hours a day because they're not at school now. They're not being distracted. So they want to eat 15 times a day. This is what we're doing for it. This is the safe things to let them make. These are the extra chores that they're doing. Even if you did a 3-minute video on extra chores because they're at home now, that would be huge. If you did a video on the snacks that my kids can make, that would be huge. These are the things that I assume your ideal client would want, Leah. Okay. If you do those little tiny videos, that's key. And that's the connection that you desire. Okay. Or have, hey, 11:30 today, we're going to do a kids chore powwow. Let's talk about the chores that you're having our kids do. First thing is when you come in, I want you to sign in with ages, just so we know who we're dealing with, and say, okay, what age we're doing this and what chores are they going to be doing? Perfect. Great. What are you going to do in a meltdown? Because again, everybody's living in their brainstem. So you're going to talk about meltdowns, right? Because our kids are freaking stressed because they don't understand this. They just know there's something going on. So they're going to talk about, hey, these kids are living in their brainstem. Be ready for meltdowns. Be ready for fits that don't make sense, and be ready for nighttime changes. Okay. This is what I deal with as a chiropractor. I'm going to help get their body adapted to this new stress. And that's all you have to do. So folks, as you do that, again, figure out those target markets, figure out what problems you can solve, and then don't be afraid of solving any problem, because that's showing connection there. 2, make sure you're pushing your email list. Okay. And then figure out, okay, with those social media accounts, where am I going to focus at? And then when I have time, where can I branch out? So for me, I'm focusing on Facebook and doing a little bit of Instagram, and even less soon on there. Yes. Absolutely. Video on opportunity, social distancing, and then talk about what you still can do. Did you know there's a lot of people don't even understand that you can't go outside right now? Some people are like, oh, I was like, oh yeah, my kids go for a walk once a day. Wait a minute, you can't go outside. You can't do that. Well, they're not hanging out and licking poles on the playground. They're not touching people and hugging people on the sidewalk. We're just going for a walk around the neighborhood. Get outside. You can still do that safely. So like little things like that makes such a big, go outside and play some basketball, whatever it might be. Make sure you do that, because again, with the fear and uncertainty there, people are literally buying toilet paper by the fuck ton just because they don't understand. So assume that's how everybody's thinking is. They don't understand. They're so freaked out. You got to communicate that and be that leader. What have you replaced toys with in my practice? Marcus, I took the toys away. I took the books away. There's nothing there. Okay. So it's concise. We're adjusting, and we're not having a connection as much there. And the parents are really loving that. Okay. So they understand that, hey, we're not going to hang out there for long periods of time. We're going in and we're going out. So that's why we're saying communication wise, that's key that you step it up in other ways too, as well, because you're honoring them for your trust that they're coming in, but you're taking away some stuff there. Makes sense? Because you're giving them peace of mind as well. Good question, Marcus. Any other questions? No? Okay. So those are some of your big action steps. Also backup systems. Okay. Backup systems. What else?
Next question.
Yeah.
I just have a question about your emails.
Yeah.
How do you make sure that those emails don't end up in someone's junk folder? I know, like, talking to someone individually, check it and make sure it doesn't, make it
Right.
as safe, whatever. But are there certain things that, like, the email world makes it more prone to go into junk versus like their regular? You know what I'm saying?
There's a few. So there's like 10 for 15% of things that if you add in there, they're just going to sort it to junk mail. Okay. However,
Like,
the more
do something where this
what?
came. I did an email the other day and I put COVID-19 in the title, and then I was like, I couldn't find it, and then I was like, oh, it went to my junk. So it just got me thinking, like, are there things I should be avoiding?
Right. So the biggest thing is heavy sales type slogans and things like that will automatically typically push people there. Or if you say even selling or for sale, those things will automatically flag often to go into junk mail. If you're using way too many emojis, okay, so I'd say 3 or more emojis is going to get kicked off into that too as well. And then the body content well. So if you have a lot of gimmicks and zings and pictures and all sorts of weird stuff in there, that's going to flag you as well. So
I'll speak to this
Troy,
too.
please.
Sometimes your like I use GetResponse, and GetResponse actually has at the end when you're getting ready to send the email, it actually tells you a spam percentage. Like where do you rate on a scale of if it's gonna have a better chance of going to spam or not. So it actually has a filter, and it filters through, I think it's like 50 different servers or something like that. So it can actually tell you if your email, I have over 20% open, and which is not bad. I mean, it's the industry standard is, Nick had mentioned 15. I had heard as low as 8 before. So if you're above those numbers, you're actually doing really well. But also words like free are not going to go over well. I was told from Australia, people down in Australia, they're like, yours keeps going to our junk mail because you have your website in it. And so I had a link for my website. And so they were like, take it out of there. And if you take it out of there, then we're going to have a chance of your stuff just coming straight to our inbox instead of out. There are spam filters out there. I met a guy last week at a business program I was at he has a buddy who's actually building an automator right now that you can literally pull up his automator and it'll check your whole email. There is also, and I wrote this down. I'm going to reach out to him because this is a big IT guy. He's 21 years old and he's a big IT guy. He's fucking brilliant. But he had showed me a page last week. I can't remember the name of it, but where you literally it'll show you like the best words to use. And instead of using like free, it'll have like options for free and things like that. And it's just to make sure it's funny because the other side of it is Nick and I could both sit here and go, that's all you can do. You cannot, because even if it gets through the barriers, there's still no chance. I mean, there's still a chance, that they're not going to open it. So it really sucks because even if you get past the guards, there's still a chance like, I don't want to deal with it today. And that's why my most common thing over the course of this past week has been just keep sending.
Yep.
Keep sending. We want to over communicate right now. Just you guys have heard from me every single day, 1 to 2 times, maybe even 3, a couple times in there. Because I'm trying to over communicate to keep you right here so you could do the things that we're talking about right now and the things that we've all talked about all this week.
And honestly, you really can't over communicate right now because of how much garbage is out there right now and how much fear and how much dumb posts there are.
Remember, one of the common things people say is, well, I don't want to reach out too much. I don't want to reach out to. I don't want to reach out to. That's a big argument for many of you. Before this happened, that was the argument. I don't want to send all those emails every week. I don't want to be on Facebook that much. Now it's all come full circle. A daily 4 looks really fucking nice now, doesn't it? Because that gets you out in front of people. That puts you out in the forefront of people. So now everybody's realizing I need to be that person who's speaking up consistently, because otherwise you can go log on to Facebook and you're going to hear about the fall of the cabal. You're going to hear about, this is all the Democrats. You're going to hear every theory under the sun. And those are the things that are dragging you under mentally. If they're too long, those are the things that are dragging your energy. You just can't do it. So you need to flip it. And I told you all this week, I started an email that said the beacon of Duke. So instead of the beacon of hope, I'm the beacon Duke. And like, you should have that somewhere. I am the beacon of hope. Write it somewhere that you're the beacon of hope for people in your community. And remind yourself when your head starts to go up your ass, remind yourself, wait a minute, I'm the beacon of hope. They need me to be the beacon of hope. And keep reminding yourself, beacon of hope, beacon of hope. It doesn't matter if you're working the front desk. It doesn't matter if you're doing exams. It doesn't matter if you're the doctor. Everyone and anyone that is in this office and they're helping to run the office is a beacon of hope. And when you take on that mentality, you don't have time to sit and think about what could go wrong.
You're the voice of reason, folks, right now. They need a leader to either grab onto or push away from. Be that person and don't worry about the people that push away from you. It's huge. So Jana, what I'd recommend to there is like say, okay, this week I'm going to focus on email. So 5 minutes, I'm going to look up spam keywords, and I'm going to look up copywriting, and I'm going to look up who I'm going to use, MailChimp or whatever like that. And then I'll look up, say, okay, what's the best way I can use that? Or MailChimp tips, and just do 5 minutes every day or 10 minutes every day or whatever time you devote, break it up into little chunks. And so that way you're an expert within a week. You can do that. Just make sure, again, the question you just asked us is perfect just to look up on video, just to get some more ideas.
And I've already reached out to my buddy. So when he gets back to me, I'll make sure everybody gets in an email where they can go look for something that's super easy.
So in closing, guys, the biggest thing is there again, you gotta have to speak up or die. Meaning take a stance as the leader, own the power that you have, because it wasn't just given to you, you earned it. You earned it by the fact that they gave you permission to change their lives with the adjustment. And they were able to relax as you put their hands on them and probably touch them more than most people do in their lifetime in order to help them with health and to healing. So you need to be able to be that person to help them with them living in their brainstem, to living in fight and flight, and all new problems that have resulted. All new problems that have resulted. Don't minimize the fact. You need to step up and be that person, because otherwise they're getting all sorts of information, all sorts of fear, and putting them continually back in fight and flight, because that's what the world's doing right now. Everybody's freaked out. They don't know what to do. They don't know what to grab onto. It is time for you to be consistent and fulfill that position. And I can tell you that if you do that, it will pay dividends later on. You may not get paid for your webinars or your hookups right now, but you will later as you become more and more trusted and become part of their community. Thanks, guys. Again, email me or Voxer me or whatever you might need for any questions. Love you all. Man, I missed all this. Let me know how I can help.
Awesome. Thank you, brother. I love you, man. I'm going to speak to this real quick. And this is what Brian had brought up. And I think I did it in the videos you guys will get today, but if not, then good, it's brought up again. But I'm pretty sure I did it in the videos that you'll get released this afternoon. But as far as inviting people, because this has been a question, like as far as HIPAA regulations and things like that, remember, if you go do a screening right now, you're asking people to sign up for an email list. Like, this is just a list. This is a list to be a part of a group where they can learn about health and wellness and that sort of thing. So they're not actually coming to be a patient, and you're also not sitting there talking about patient information. So you position this more so as not a patient-only group. You position this as a group for people to be able to learn blank, a VIP group for people to do blank. And if you position it that way, then you're actually just putting together a group like anybody else in the Facebook world. And as long as you're not on there talking about people's personal information, Mary Beth comes on and starts asking you about her hemorrhoids and something else. You're like, hey, Mary Beth, we need to take this offline. Call me, you have my phone number, or text me and we'll make an appointment or whatever. Just steer her away so you're actually not talking about true to life patient information on that page, and you're steering away. And then obviously I have to say as a disclaimer for everyone, make sure you check with your state ordinances, federal laws, provinces, all that other stuff. Just to CYA. Any comments there, Nick, on that? Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Sir Nicolot. If anybody has to go potty, go tinkle now. We're going to start here in 5 minutes with our next hour of discussion with Dr. Michael Buffington. I'm super stoked. So just go ahead and take a break right now. I'm going to hit the recording, get the recording off, and we will start in, well, now 4 minutes.